Welcome to this live webinar for BASIS International and Bilingual Schools Chengdu. We're really excited to have you. We have the head of school here that's going to be talking about all things related to the school. And then we also have a whole panel of school leaders and teachers and other faculty at the school that will talk about some really great points about the school. We'll talk about the network itself. We have all these people here. And then, so we'll talk about the school itself. We'll talk about some insights related to the network. We'll also talk about benefits and visa-related things. And then at the end, we'll be open for a Q&A, and you're welcome to pop in questions as you think of them. We won't answer them necessarily throughout the video, or throughout the webinar, but at the end, we'll address all your questions, and then the person that it pertains to will pop in and answer that question. So on that note, we will start with Mark Silty, the head of school of BASIS International and Bilingual Schools Chengdu. Mark?
Thank you very much, and welcome to all of you who are joining us today on this webinar. Yes, my name is Mark Silty, and I'm head of school here at BASIS International and Bilingual Schools Chengdu. You may already be aware of the BASIS network. It is one of the fastest growing and one of the most successful networks here in China, with schools around the country. BASIS Chengdu is a relatively new school. We're in our third year this year, growing rapidly. We're currently at about a little over 700 students. We'll open next year likely well over 1,000, and growing toward about 2,300 students by the time things are done. Unique to BASIS, we were the first campus to have both a bilingual and an international section in one campus structure. We have separate bilingual schools, we have international schools. Chengdu combines them both together. Now, they are different, but perhaps not as different as you might suppose. The international wing is populated by students whose parents have a foreign residency permit or passport, but are still likely ethnically Chinese and citizens of this country, where the bilingual wing is made up, again, of host country nationals, but those parents are carrying Chinese passports. And in that curriculum, we do, to some extent, follow the instructions of the educational ministry. However, to be truthful, both curriculums are almost identical to each other, and virtually all students will, in the end, apply for and be accepted to top universities around the world, whether in the US or Canada, in UK, Australia, New Zealand. Truly, it's a global picture out there. As I said, we're in our third year, growing as a school. This is a school that believes very strongly in collaboration. As I mentioned, we are part of a network. And when you're connected at BASIS, you're not only connected to those individuals in your year level or in your department, but to teachers who are teaching your subject throughout the entire network. Every administrator here teaches. We hire administrators who can prove in the classroom that they can do what we expect of every teacher, and that is to develop and deliver a first-class curriculum to our students. Myself, I teach European history, but again, I have colleagues all over the network. As I said, a growing school of 700. We house both the international and the bilingual programs. The facilities here are absolutely outstanding. You've seen the original kind of global view of the campus, but if you get down to looking at the individual facilities, whether it is our sports fields, our theater, our music rooms, our classrooms, our laboratories, our teacher spaces, pools, gyms, lecture halls, and it's just amazing. And yes, we have the most Hogwarts-like library in the entire network, which is actually a joy to behold. We like to say that at BASIS, we work very hard, and much is demanded of each of us. But we also want to say that BASIS is a great place to work and that you're truly appreciated by the network itself. Chengdu is a wonderful city. There's much to explore. I will confess that the campus is a little ways away from the center of the city. The fact is, Monday through Friday, most of us are working too hard to spend a lot of evenings in the city. But on the weekends, we head in for great food, massages, parks, theaters, art displays, anything you can imagine. And with the cost of living being as reasonable as it is in Chengdu, you have the opportunity to take staycations inside the city, get a hotel room for the weekend and really relax with friends and colleagues. It's, like I said, a wonderful place to be. Many of us have been around China. We've been in different cities. We've worked for different school systems. There are many great places to work, but we're all very proud of what we're doing here at BASIS Chengdu. We're all very pleased to be part of the BASIS system here. We all feel appreciated and valued by the network. And again, if this is something which sounds interesting to you, we'd love to have that conversation. The fact is, we have a great faculty, but we also have a faculty that's growing rapidly, and we're looking forward to adding so many new colleagues to that list. We come from diverse situations, diverse experiences and such, but you will find your people here. Anyways, there's a lot more that we can say. We do want to leave time for your questions. So I think next I'll turn it over to Ms. Jessica Lutz, our head of the Early Childhood Program on the BASIS Chengdu campus. Look forward to talking to you. Hope to see you. This is our new crop that came in this year that we all met down in the southern city of Shenzhen for professional development before we started. We have local staff, we have a large foreign staff, hoping that you're interested in us, and we'd love to talk to you. Jessica, would you like to take over?
Good morning and welcome to this webinar about BASIS Chengdu. As a founding member here at BASIS Chengdu, I'm really excited to be part of this webinar. I am the head of the early childhood and have been with BASIS for the last 8 years. So today I want to explore a little bit about our early childhood program and go into 3 different parts. The first part I'd like to talk about is our classroom experience. In our classrooms, we have an SET, which is a foreign teacher, an LET, which is a local teacher, and a monitor, which is considered the class mom. We follow a thematic and emergent curriculum where the students' knowledge and interest is what leads our exciting program. We go from the basis where students' interest and knowing our students is the most important. We also focus a lot on play-based learning, where hands-on activities and student self-reflection is encouraged even from the early childhood. The teacher experience here at BASIS is collaborative. We ensure that our teachers collaborate in planning, teaching, and assessing. So the team of teachers in the classroom all work together as a co-teaching team, and this is emphasized and integral to the success of every student we have on our campus. Now, I'd like to talk about our unique facilities and school experience. The BASIS Chengdu Early Childhood is a standalone, which is very unique to our program. And inside our school, we have purposefully built rooms, which include not only fantastic outdoor facilities, but also include activities such as rooms designed for ICT and computer science. We have dedicated spaces for loose parts, music, art, drama, facilities for a physical education, which is really outstanding. And we make sure that our teachers' classrooms reflect our students' learning. I hope that this little introduction makes you excited to learn more about our early childhood program. And now I'd like to give it over to our head of primary school, Ms. Margaret Lehman.
Greetings and thank you for joining us at this BASIS Chengdu webinar. My name is Margaret Lehman and I am the head of primary school here. I wanted to share a few things with you today. First, the most important thing is that every single teacher and administrator, we are all English language learner teachers first, in addition to being our respective subject matter teachers. This means that everything we do is about helping our students, whether they are on the bilingual side or the international side, to learn and thrive in English. So what happens in our primary school classrooms is that we have an SET or an expat teacher, subject expert teacher, and we have an LET or a learning enhancement or learning expert teacher. The learning enhancement, learning expert teacher helps in the classroom with translanguaging. So what this looks like is the SET will give instructions or directions in English, and the LET will then provide the instruction again or the directions in Chinese, and then ask the students to then retranslate in English to build connections across the languages. Also, our Chinese as a second language program is growing stronger and stronger as our diversity increases on campus. This is great for if you're bringing your children with you and you want them to develop great skills in Chinese, because Chinese is also incredibly important here at Basis Chengdu. And finally, this morning, I would like to talk about life on campus. It's a gorgeous campus, from the gardens to the facilities themselves to our swimming pool, the gymnasium. It's all incredibly beautiful. And also on campus, we have an amazing CrossFit gym and community. And if you are a runner like myself, it's about 5 to 7 minutes, depending on your speed, to country roads where you can have your entire 6-lane road to yourself if you're interested. And if you want to go downtown, it's about a 10-minute taxi ride to the closest metro stop. So thank you again. I'm going to now hand it over to Mr. Ryan Stotsbury, our Vice Head of Primary School. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. My name is Mr. Ryan Stotsbury, and I'm the Vice Head of the Primary School here at Basis Chengdu. This is actually my first year at the school, as well as my first year at the network. So for those of you that have questions about moving into different school system or moving into a corporate kind of culture, I'm really excited to share with you how this is quite a different kind of experience for a private school. The Basis family has been treating myself and my family exceptionally well. And meeting some of my colleagues here at Basis, I've actually noticed that they're treated extremely well and they're loyal. So myself as a newbie here in my first year, I'm among administrators and teachers that have been at this network, some of them for over 5, 6, 9 years. It's a great, great company to work for. And as Mr. Silty said at the beginning, yes, we do work hard, but we are receiving excellent, excellent benefits and treatment from the company. So that's the first thing that I wanted to mention. The second thing, in addition to our excellent and comprehensive curriculum in the primary school that prepares our students to be successful for the demands and academic rigor of the middle school and high school, we also have a very robust selection of specialist classes for the students to enjoy. So here we've got state-of-the-art facilities in both our international and bilingual buildings for our music classes, our PE facilities, our robotics and design class, as well as our art classes. And what I think is really special about this school too is we have the two sections. We have our international and bilingual, and they are mirrored. So I teach music, and I teach music in both sides, in the bilingual school and in the international school. And my music room in each of the buildings is identical, with a robust, beautiful selection of Orff instruments and percussion instruments and boom whackers and all sorts of fun stuff for the kids to play with. And then I walk over to the other campus, and I have a pretty much identical classroom. So for teachers that are wondering, what's the difference between the international and bilingual? Are there different facilities? Is the teaching different? And the answer is no, the experience is fairly the same. There's only some minor differences owing to the requirements of the Chinese national curriculum. So some students have to take a few required courses in the bilingual side as opposed to the international side. In addition, of course, to our specialist classes, we've got some excellent core academic subjects with a very, very well-established curriculum. Our English, our math, our science, our Chinese, as well as some specialized classes such as speech and debate and social emotional learning are extremely well developed among the network. So as a new teacher stepping into this school, you'll actually find that you have a wealth of resources and support support to draw from to meet the high standards and the high academic rigor that we expect of our students, but also you have a really, really friendly and collaborative culture among the rest of the schools in the network. So we're all online using Microsoft Teams, sharing resources, sharing lesson plans, sharing curriculum, and we also have a weekly or bi-weekly meeting, which we call collaboration hour, which means across the network, every single teacher in your department or your affinity group or in your division are online collaborating, meeting, and sharing ideas because it's this idea of collective efficacy where we're all working together to build each other up. And as a collective effort, we have a fantastic school together. So those are my notes here. Really happy to meet you guys and answer some questions, especially as someone new to the school and new to the network. So next, I'm going to turn the hot seat over to our head of middle school, Ms. Susan Moran.
Welcome everyone, and thank you for coming together with us today. We're very pleased to talk to you and give you some information about middle school in particular. So I'm Sue Moran and I've been at the school. This is my 3rd year, so I'm a founding member. And this is my first American school, so I've been learning a lot during the last 2 years. And I think the most important thing I can say about middle school is that what we notice is that our students coming into middle school, whether they're coming up from primary school in BASIS or whether they're coming from outside, they need a lot of support. They need social and emotional support, and they need academic support. The BASIS curriculum is advanced. It's very challenging, and that not everybody is ready for that immediately. So what we have is a team of people who can provide support. We have deans, counsellors, ELL support, and a team of advisors who give the students support on a weekly basis. So we have an advisory program where the students are developing their skills, but in particular skills that they need for collaboration and communication. We want our students to be effective learners, and we want them they are very hardworking, and we want them to use the time that they have in the most effective way, as they have a lot to do. As a BASIS teacher, what you can expect is to be supported by a strong network. On a monthly basis, we have meetings where we have course advisors who will share resources. There are curriculums in place and resources to go with them. There's a lot of communication and support across the network, across all of the schools in China. Within our school, we have an observation culture where it's very normal for teachers, for administrators, for, well, anybody really, to be visiting classrooms, to see what's going on, to have professional dialogue, and to talk about where next. We're all good teachers, but what can we do to make it even better? That's something in our culture we're developing. We are all developing learners. We're all developing in what we do, the students, the teachers, absolutely everybody. So I hope that's given you a little taste of what middle school is like. And I'd like now to pass over to Vice Head of High School, Kyle Voorhees.
I am Vice Head of High School, Kyle Voorhees, and like Sue, I'm a founding member here in Chengdu. I started out as Chair of Social Studies, and this is my first year as Vice Head of High School. I also teach AP Economics. You'll find that all admin in BASIS are expected to teach, and I think this model is very beneficial to teachers and admin to always be connected with the classroom and to go through those struggles together. Our curriculum is a mix of honors and AP. You can kind of think of the honors courses as pre-AP courses. High school students have 8 main lessons a day, and some high school students might be taking 1 AP course a year. Some might be taking 4. It really depends on the student. Our AP growth, our first year we offered 3 AP classes. Last year it was 11. This year we're offering 19. So there's going to be 19 different AP tests. 87% of our students had a AP pass rate last year. So score 3 or more. 89% of our students were recommended to sit the AP exams. 63% scored a 5 scored a 5 on the AP exams. That's quite remarkable. And 16 of the 18 test groups beat the China average on the AP scores. Next year, we are going to have our first graduating class. So that's going to be very exciting for the school. You know, it's a big milestone for a founding school to have that first graduating class. So that'll be something exciting to be a part of. And in that senior year, they can take AP courses, but they also take a lot of capstone courses, which provides opportunities for teachers to offer demanding elective courses that they are passionate about. Outside of the classroom, we have sports teams, clubs that actually teachers are paid for, which is not necessarily a normal thing in China. So if you offer your time to get involved in the extracurriculars, you are compensated for that time. Beyond the classroom again, and beyond the school even, I just want to say Chengdu is a great city for outdoor enthusiasts. We often, outside of Chengdu, we're in a basin here. So in every direction outside of Chengdu, you can, within an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, you're in the mountains. And whether you like to rough it in camp or you like to glamp and be in luxurious cabins out in the mountains, those are all available. And I try to get out of the concrete jungle as much as I can. If you love spicy food, Chengdu is great. I don't like spicy food, but I'm never longing for Western food. There's plenty of great Western options as well. So the food is great, whether you love spicy food or not. And one more last kind of personal thing. I want to back up the primary school here. I have a 4th grade son and a 1st grade daughter. So they've gone through the ECE program, and they're now in their 3rd year here at Basis. And it's really remarkable to see the growth, that my kids have had, particularly my son, from 2nd to 4th grade and math, English, Chinese. When my son came over, he wasn't fully bilingual. He was mostly just English speaking, and he's pretty much fluent in both now. My daughter came over when she was younger, so it's been a lot easier for her to become fluent. But the curriculum here at Basis is demanding, but at the same time, I love seeing the growth that my kids have had in those subjects. So that's what I've got for high school and beyond, and I'll pass it over to Mr. Brown at College Admissions.
Hello, my name is Ben Brown. I'm the Director of College Admissions. I want to talk a little bit about our program today. We begin in grade 8, working individually and in groups with grade 8 middle school students. And our program culminates in the senior year where we have daily college counseling classes. So basically, we take students all the way through the college admissions process. This is comparable to a service that many non-Basis students seek with paid outside support or agents. We have very high expectations for all students. Our goal is to place all students in top 50 U.S. universities or equally selective universities in the UK or Canada, or perhaps even in Asia, in Hong Kong, to complement our rigorous AP curriculum that Mr. Voorhees spoke about. We also offer the chance for students to choose a high school major. They can choose an area of math, social science, sciences, humanities, or fine arts, for which they'll take 4 additional classes beyond the graduation requirements. And do a public-facing event or a project. For all aspects of our program, we deem it essential to closely work with students and families to path toward these goals. Also, as a personal side note, I'm the proud father of a 2nd grade student. This is our 2nd year here at Basis. So he began primary school last year in grade 1. He's now in grade 2. He absolutely loves his teachers and classes. He wakes up excited on, I'd say, 99% of the mornings to come to school. He pops out of bed ready. He particularly loves the robotics and engineering course There's a Lego after school course that he loves. And his we don't speak Chinese at home, but his Chinese has flourished here at Basis. So we just love this for him. I love working with our high school students who really just put their all into achieving their goals. The parents are very supportive here for these goals as well. So it's just an amazing program, and I feel lucky and fortunate to be part of it.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much, everyone. There were some really great insights. I love that we learned about every division. I love that most of you guys have your own children going to this school and have great experiences as parents, and your kids are having great experiences as students. And there's some really cool things that you guys are doing at this campus. So thank you so much for going into that. So I'm just going to kind of briefly go over some things about the BASIS International and Bilingual Schools China Network. We have 14 schools, including the schools that have dual international and bilingual schools. The first one began in Shenzhen, and we opened 3 new schools last year, including 2 early childhood education centers and an additional bilingual school pre-K through 12. So we're a rapidly growing network, as Mark Silty had discussed. Not just in China, we started in, let me see if this next slide talks about it. Okay. There we go. So we also have 6 BASIS independent schools in the United States. So those are private schools, same curriculum as you have in the international schools in China, save for a few differences for history and language. But the curriculum is our own BASIS curriculum. So it's quite curriculum agnostic in that sense, meaning you heard from Susan Moran, who didn't come from an American school before, but now she's the head of school of BASIS, which is not an American school per se, but it does come from the United States. So anybody from any curricula background, any type of pedagogical practices that you come from and backgrounds, you are welcome to come and apply with BASIS, and we're happy to have a chat with you. So we'll talk briefly about this only because I think everybody already kind of covered it, but we are a liberal arts infused AP school. What does that mean? We are heavily STEM focused, meaning science and especially maths are quite important for us. But we also really emphasize the liberal arts, the fine arts, theater, drama. We have a fantastic theater program. Our students are producing some amazing artworks. One of the art teachers showed me this painting, and I thought it was a 11th or 12th grader, and it was a 2nd grader. So we're really trying to get students to find their passions, maybe not just academic, sitting in a desk doing math equations, all day and pursuing that, which is great, but also finding other things that uplift them and they find joy out of, whether it be music or weightlifting, rowing, performing arts, anything like that. And you heard them also discuss about things like Legos after school and robotics and the fantastic music rooms. It's really, really amazing. So again, I'm not going to talk too much about the rest of this just because everybody discussed it. But if you have any questions about the curriculum, please pop it in the Q&A, and then maybe at the end we can address something that we didn't cover fully that you'd like us to discuss. And with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to our recruiter, our recruiter who directly works with Chengdu, Michael Holtquist, and I will pass it over to you, Mike.
Layla, thank you. And everybody else, welcome for joining from wherever you are, joining us from around the world here. And so I'm going to talk about a little bit about what it's like to be a BASIS teacher and kind of what you can expect. And the first thing is, so at BASIS, we really do take care of the teachers. We want teachers that want to be here for a long time. We want to make sure that we're really supporting them kind of in everything that they do. And that starts before a teacher ever joins BASIS. The HR team is second to none. And one thing we consistently hear from teachers at BASIS is how helpful the HR teams, how well they've been supported through that entire visa process. So we do get all of our teachers the correct Z teaching visas. We get spouses, spousal visa, children dependent visas. The HR team, they'll book everybody's flights to China at the start of someone's assignment and back home at the end of their assignment. As well as when you get to the airport, the school picks us up at the airport, takes us back to the school, back to our apartments, and really kind of makes those first few days very, very seamless, very smooth for you. We do provide all of our teachers housing, and even before a teacher steps in, the housing is set up. And as you can see, it's just a small portion of what the HR team does is just creating these welcome packets for teachers. So when they do arrive after the long flight, they don't have to go out and do things right away. They can take that time to relax and adjust into their new home. They make sure the Wi-Fi is set up, essentials are prepared, and again, as you can see here, even food and drinks, that type of stuff is ready for everybody. As well as the HR team also helps with setting up all the apps you need to get around in China. There in China, if you don't know, it largely is paying through apps. It's paying through cell phone apps and that type of stuff versus a cash or credit card or things like that. And they help you set up your banking apps, set up your phone apps, as well as take you through the residency process and show us around to here's the stores, here's the shopping malls, and just the other teachers are there getting together before school starts is to show their talent, show what it's like there in Chengdu, show what it's like to be there and help those new teachers get adjusted. And as you heard Ben talk about earlier, is here with Basis, we have had a large success with students getting into universities all across the world. Overall, as a network, 97% of all Basis applicants were accepted in the top 50 universities, and 67%, so 2/3, were accepted in the top 30 universities, either in the U.S. or equivalent for those countries, including places like Cambridge and Cornell and MIT and Harvard and Stanford. But even like Layla was saying, we do have a very, very well developed, a very thorough arts program as well, with students going to places like the Rhode Island School of Design and places like that, pursuing those arts degrees when they get to college. And so the question is, well, why teach with Basis? Why should I want to teach at a school like Basis? And first off, it's the people. The people here at Basis are just an incredible group of people, and it's an incredibly collaborative environment. One thing here at Basis we really look for with all of our teachers that do want to work together and to be very collaborative and learn from each other. One of the great things is, as you saw, we have teaching staff with such a diverse background, and be able to learn from each other and work to grow as teachers is so important. It's also a very academic culture. We do have these high expectations to the students, and the students, they want to meet those expectations. And so it's our job as teachers to really help them reach those expectations. And they will challenge us. They will push you to become a better teacher. They will push you to kind of go in more in depth, and it's a great challenge to have. But you're not left on your own. You have that collaborative nature kind of at the school there, but it's also you have the school as a network as well. You're not on your own. You have a number of schools all across China, as well as schools in the United States as well. And you have the support from all those variety of schools, all those varieties of teachers to help with that. The next thing is the students. Like I said, these students, they do want this academic. They want to be pushed. They want to be challenged, and we can really help them through that and help them be able to push themselves to those levels that they really do want to get to. And so it is challenging, is hard work, but it's so rewarding to see them do that. And so then the next question is kind of, well, why China? And China is a country where education is highly valued. The students, they do value education. The parents, the families, they do value education. And so there is that respect for teachers, respect for education. And you see that in kind of everything that the students do. As well as with China, it is an incredibly convenient, it could be modern city to be in, where a school in Chengdu it's kind of in the suburbs of the city, but it's such a fast growing area, and everything around this just is growing up around the school. And so it is highly modern, very highly cutting edge, but it's an ancient country, and you do have kind of those traditions and that type of stuff. And just this culture that is kind of having that interplay between the ancient culture and the just hyper modern culture. It's such a dynamic place to be able to see these cultures kind of come together and see our role as teachers at school. How do we fit into that, and how do we embrace that culture of the city of Chengdu, and making sure that as a school there, we are part of this city, as well as just economically as well. Um, the cost of living there in China and Chengdu, it is relatively low compared to a lot of parts of the world. And so you do have the ability to kind of live that lifestyle that you really do want, because again, the cost of living is lower than you may experience elsewhere, as well as just with all the components of the package that Basis does provide as well. It helps with that cost of living, be able to save and really live that lifestyle that teachers are really looking for. And so kind of what does that mean in terms of what does Basis provide our teachers? And there are a lot of components to it. So in addition to your salary, there are travel benefits. Like I said, we book all of our teachers and their families' flights to Chengdu at the start of their assignment, and then back home at the end of their assignment. And then during their assignment, there is that annual return home allowance for teachers to be able to travel kind of at their time there. Because again, we're going to a new country and you want to explore it and be able to explore the rest of Asia as well. And so you want teachers to be able to do that. Again, we provide you housing. It's fully paid for, fully furnished housing there in Chengdu that all the teachers do provide. And it's not that you have to share an apartment or live in a dorm, things like that. It's your own apartment. So teachers do all have their own apartments, that type of stuff, versus having to share or live in a dorm environment, things like that. We do also provide healthcare coverage. So we provide global healthcare coverage for our teachers. And for teachers from the U.S., it does include kind of covering the U.S. as well. However, there in China, there are some pre-existing conditions that sometimes the insurance may not cover there in China. As you heard, a lot of our teachers, they do have children of their own, and we do provide tuition waiver for up to 2 children, so that way your kids can go to school with you as well. As well as we provide all of our teachers and the children of our teachers breakfast and lunch every school day at the school. And these are not the school cafeteria lunches I remember with the square pizzas and things like that. This is very, very high quality food. It's just incredible chefs. And I know every time I'm at the school, the greens in particular at the lunches always really stand out to me. As well as we provide additional bonuses as well to our teachers. Every year, teachers do receive a 10% retirement benefit. So that way teachers can choose to invest in the retirement option that's best for them and the country that they're coming from. At the end of the assignment, it's a 3-year assignment, there is a completion bonus, as well as throughout the year, there's additional bonus opportunities as well that teachers have the potential to get. As well as, like you heard Mark and his team talk about before, there's stipends as well for teachers that do kind of want to provide us extracurricular supports as well. That gets into, well, what is Basis looking for? What is Basis looking for in their teachers? And the first thing that we're looking for our teachers is a degree in their subject. We're looking for teachers that have that depth of knowledge. So all of our math teachers have a degree in math. All of our chemistry teachers have a degree in chemistry, art teachers in art, drama teachers in drama, that type of thing. So we look for teachers that really are experts in what they teach. And like I said, the students, they will challenge us on that. And so they will push us to use those degrees. And we look for that degree, not just because we want teachers that have that depth of knowledge, but also is just we want teachers to have that passion for their subject. And if you got a degree in your subject, it's something you enjoy, something you're passionate about. And students can tell that. And that passion just feeds over to the students. As well as for teachers with 2 years of full-time teaching experience. That's 2 years of full-time teaching experience in the classroom after graduating university, as well as just that teacher that wants to collaborate and wants to work with their colleagues and wants to continue to learn and grow as a teacher. One thing I can guarantee with BASIS is it will change because we're going to try new things. We're going to try to get better. And so we want teachers that want to embrace that, want to say, you know what, hey, here's a new strategy, here's a technique, let me try this. And when it works, that's great. How do I share it out? And how do I try new techniques? And when it doesn't work, how do I try something new? Again, there are those high academic standards, and we want to make sure that teachers can help their students get there by providing them the support structure, the safety nets, so they really can kind of reach those levels that they are looking for. And it is hard work. Our teachers, they do work very hard to do this, and the students do push us as teachers. And so we are teachers that are open to that, and no, it will be difficult, but we want all of our teachers that come with us here at BASIS to be able to say, I became a better teacher because of my time there, because of the work I put into it. As well as just the ability to pass that on to students, pass that love of learning, that love of figuring things out onto their students. And then finally, as well, like I said before, just getting all of our teachers the correct visas, make sure everybody's getting on the correct teaching visa. And so we do have to make sure that we are following all those kind of visa requirements, things like that are in place to make sure we get everyone there in the correct way. When you're there at BASIS, what is it like? What should a teacher know? The first thing to know is that the students, they're mostly local students. Most of the students there in Chengdu are from Chengdu. And so we have to be very cognizant of that. That English is not their first language. These are largely second language learners. And so being able to adjust to that and make sure that we're able to reach them in the best way for them. When I say that they're second language learners, and English is not their first language, it doesn't mean that we're going to water down the curriculum. We're going to make the classes easier. It's how do we adjust our teaching and our language and provide them support so they can reach those higher levels. Again, this does require a lot of flexibility and adapting as a teacher, because it's not just the students adapting to us as international teachers, it's us adapting to them and us adapting to that culture there. And as well as you heard a lot of our teachers talk about is they have children as well. And when you teach internationally, you have to make sure it's not just, is it right for me? It's, is it right for my entire family? And so just making sure that your students, that your children accompany you are ready for that basis education and ready to make sure it's like, is this the right place for them? Because we want everybody, teachers, families, students to be happy and excited to be there. And we don't want to push a student that isn't ready for it. We want to make sure that the student accompany our teachers, it's the right school for them as well. And so that's something to also be aware of as well, is this the right place for my student? And is this going to be a place that they're going to be able to thrive as well? I guess kind of with that is how to stay in touch. All of our positions, they do get posted on our career site, jobs.basisinternationalschools.com, as well as we have our blog where you can see insights from a number of our teachers. And you can sign up for a talent community. They'll be let you notified of things that are going on with BASIS and what teachers are doing, that type of thing. As well as kind of we do have a large presence on all the social channels as well.
Thanks so much, Mike. Those are really great insights. I am glad I didn't talk about why China, because I could probably talk for forever and I'll ramble on and on and on. But it is a great country. Chengdu is really, really lovely. Again, it is in Sichuan. So if you've heard of Sichuan food or maybe ordered it from a restaurant, it is spicier. I love spicy food, so I love it. I'm still waiting to go see a panda somewhere in Chengdu. But anyway, yeah. So thank you so much for joining. We'll turn it over to some Q&A. Mark and Mike, if you want to pop back on and maybe we can collectively answer some questions that are happening in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Layla, thank you very much. And we did get a couple questions. And I guess the first one is, Ryan, this is probably for you, is with this being your first year at BASIS, what should a teacher new to BASIS and new to Chengdu really kind of know about what it's like there? What should they expect?
So yeah, I can answer this question for you in two parts. I guess the first part is just being new to BASIS. You have to understand that it is a fairly established curriculum and a fairly established school system. So some of the practices and some of the organizational structure might be a little bit different than what you're used to, maybe back home, or maybe you've been teaching abroad in international schools. I think it was mentioned before that our admins are teachers. So that might be something new to you is, yes, you're going to be walking the halls with your fellow admins. And the other one is the observational culture. So the big focus for administrators in BASIS is that observational piece of instructional leadership. So all of the admins are teaching, and then the rest of their day, they're in the classrooms and they're watching and they're evaluating and they're observing teachers. We believe that teachers develop the best when they're getting good feedback. We can take multiple master's degrees, we can read lots of books, go to conferences, but until you have an objective observer in your classroom, seeing things, noticing things, and then sharing their perspective and giving that feedback, that is something a lot of teachers aren't accustomed to or used to in some international schools or even back home in the West. So those are two things that I actually quite like at this school. As far as being new to Chengdu, wow. If you're a China veteran, it's a very unique city. I've been all over China and been to Shanghai, Beijing, Suzhou, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Sichuan is its own flavor up here. It's a more relaxed, it's a more peaceful environment. It's very nature oriented. I'm from the west coast of Canada, and there's quite a difference between people from the Western Canada and people from Eastern Canada. Eastern Canada is fast-paced, go, 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 city life. Western Canada is more nature vibes and relaxation and take your time. I kind of see that contrast here in Chengdu with the local people. If you're out and about in the city, you'll see that the vibe is a little bit more relaxed. It's a little bit more slow-paced than, say, Shanghai or Beijing. If you're getting on and off in the subway in Shanghai, Beijing, there are going to be crowds. They're going to be pushing. It's going to be busy and fast. Here, people will take their time getting on and off in the subways. They'll be relaxing and enjoying their time out. There's quite an established culture for that in this city. Like literally, it's known for the slower, more relaxed kind of lifestyle. It's been mentioned a couple times before. This is the foodie capital of China, not just for the spicy food, but the Sichuan cuisine, which is one of the 6 kind of major types of food or types of dishes or traditional cuisines, has got a huge variety of different kinds of foods. Yes, they do like the spicy foods, but that was only introduced a few decades ago. So there's quite a rich history of foods. We were just talking about this. I think Chengdu has 10 or 15 Michelin star restaurants in the city, and then another 20 or so that are on the notable up-and-comers list. So if you're a foodie, you will not be disappointed, and you'll have a lot of time to explore the city's food culture. So yeah, I hope that was a helpful answer to questions for being a newbie here at Chengdu and here in BASIS.
Yeah, Ryan, thank you very much. That was great. And just to follow up on that, from the food there in Chengdu, it is incredible. But from personal experience, do not go to a hot pot restaurant and say you like spicy food, because they will take it at a challenge. And so one of the other questions we got is, so with BASIS, you mentioned it's a for-profit school. What is that like? What's it like for a for-profit school versus a non-profit school?
Well, maybe if I can take that question. I've now worked and led at schools in different places around the world, in Shanghai, in Vietnam, in Mexico, and such. And most of my career, whether it began in the United States, has been in not-for-profit schools. When you're leading schools, you realize that all schools have to be concerned about budgets. It's not as if not-for-profit schools have an infinite supply of money that they can dip into. All schools have to think in terms of cost and cost analysis. I think what is often thought of And when you hear the term a for-profit school, is a group of investors whose primary goal is to draw as much wealth out of the school as possible with little care for the students, the families, the teachers, and such. I don't think that's true, but it is certainly not true at BASIS. The investment group behind BASIS, the individuals who are really driving this network, care very, very deeply about the experience that the teachers, that the staff, that the students, that the parents are having at this school. If this is a for-profit, and it is the least for-profit feeling school I have ever worked at in my career. So, do we make decisions based indeed on cost? Of course we do, as all schools do. But I have never been turned down in a request for a new position, in a request for instruments in a science lab, musical instruments, sports upgrades. I've never been turned down for something that we say will improve the teaching and learning, the student experience, the parent experience, and the experience of our staff. I live on campus with my wife, as do most of us sitting around this table. Do things go wrong in an apartment building? If you've ever lived in one, you know that they do. But for us, it's a text message away, and help is usually there within a matter of minutes. They are very, very responsive. Everyone here, I think, feels a deep sense of responsibility to make this a great place to work. So we do our job, and the support staff from operations to logistics to purchasing, they do their job so that we can be at our best.
Yeah, Mark, thank you very much for that. And I just kind of one final question we got is kind of with BASIS there in Chengdu, we have both bilingual branch and an international branch. How does that work to make sure that those two branches can be one school versus two separate schools sharing a campus?
Sure. Well, first of all, I do want to emphasize, while we will talk about two campuses, it is literally about a 2.5-minute walk from my classroom on the bilingual side to the classroom on the international side where I teach. And I say 2.5 minutes only if I'm interrupted on the way by a student to have a little conversation. We're very, very closely tied. Administrators are administrators for the school, not for the individual bilingual or international side. And the vast majority of our teachers will teach classes on both sides. Obviously, primary school teachers are largely in a classroom or in an area or division, and they may be mostly settled in one or the other. But once you get up to middle and high school, we're travelers. We go back and forth between the international and the bilingual sides. And as I said, I teach the same course on both sides. I'm teaching it with the same materials. I'm teaching it with the same instructions. Are the children a bit different? They can be. But I don't, like I have 4 children. I don't know which one I would give up if I had to. I have 2 wings here, an international and a bilingual, and I wouldn't give up either. I love having them both.
Right. Thank you very much. And I think that was all the questions. So Layla, I'll pass it back over to you.
And thank you, Mark, and everyone over there so much for providing your insights. It was so great. If you are interested in applying to BASIS International and Bilingual Schools Chengdu, you can do so on our career site. We have plenty of, again, Mark talked about the growth and expansion. So if you see all those positions posted for Chengdu, it is not a mass exodus. It is actually just growth, which is really, really exciting. We have something for everyone, I think, up there right now. So take a look. And then if you don't see a role that is specific to you, go ahead and apply to that future opportunities post. And we'd still love to have a chat with you and see if there is maybe something, not now, but in the future, we can discuss with you. So again, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mark, and the team over there. Thank you, Michael. And everyone have a great morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are in the world today. So thank you.